Good morning and welcome to my garden. I'm a systematic worker and I like doing things in order. I like following through a pattern and completing things together. So I finished contour 1 on the north, cleaning it up, removing the weeds that weren't supposed to be growing in the vegetable growing side and pruning all the chop and drop. And then I've moved on to contour 2 on the north, and I've recently pruned all the chop and drop down here, and I've prepared the beds all ready for planting and pruned the fruit trees, and we've got this lovely cared for landscape right here with order and productivity. So that means I'm up to contour 3 on the north. However, if what I really want to do is do some chop and drop and do some tidy up, there's probably somewhere I should be working first. Contour 1 on the east. Look at the growth here. So it was just a couple of months that I pruned it all back. Pruned the arrowroot and the pigeon pea and the elderberry. And look at it now. It's easily more than 2 meters high. I pruned it all down to knee high and it's all grown back and it's just so beautiful. But it's also so very ready for chop and drop. You can see over there my nectarine tree is a little bit buried and it would probably appreciate some sunlight, particularly now that the heat is going out of the day and the arrowroot's getting quite thick again. And the lemongrass is over 2 meters again too. So this is probably the bed I should be working on. So I guess I've talked myself into it. I'll be doing chop and drop on this bed this morning. One of the ideals in Centropics is to get a plant that grows really effectively and then chop it and drop it. So I have pigeon pea here and I have elderberry here, and they're growing beautifully and they grow quickly, and just 3 or 4 months after the last chop and drop, I've got all this chop and drop here from this. And I consider it an extremely valuable resource. Someone did warn me that elderberry can be invasive and I should watch what happens with that. Here's an example of what they were talking about. That's an elderberry that I did not plant, and it's now growing over there towards my vegetable garden. Now, one plant isn't a problem. However, as I've been pruning these elderberry, I have pulled out several plants that are not the parent plant. And here is another one that's growing from a root under the ground. So yeah, we want plants that can grow fast, and often the weed species are the most ideal for that. But what happens if I'm injured and I can't work my garden for 6 to 12 months? What's going to happen is I'm going to have a weed forest here that someone's going to have to clean up. I don't want to create problems. I think I'll be working on a process of identifying what's going to be a problem and getting rid of those plants and replacing them with something that's not going to be a problem. And if I don't manage it so well, it's not going to create a major problem for the next person who'll want to look after my garden. Okay, we're all finished chopping and dropping. The arrowroot and the lemongrass here had grown so much in the few months. In fact, the lemongrass had grown, but it hadn't spread out, but the arrowroot had spread out quite a lot. You can see this arrowroot plant, it had shoots all the way out here and out here, so it would have easily been a 1 meter circle. So I pulled out some of those, and the chooks will enjoy eating them, pulling them to pieces. The yacon that I had planted here really struggled with getting so much shade. So I don't know whether that means it's going to die or whether it's going to come back now that it's got some sun. It'll be mainly morning sun from the east, but the sun is moving as we get closer to winter. Currently there's a cyclone off the Queensland coast, so we've got quite a bit of wind happening here, and we're waiting till next week to see if the cyclone comes down and gives us some rain or just wind. My chop and drop row gave me a lot of biomass. You can see that I've got about knee-high worth of drop along there now, and the plants are going to grow back. But I'm wondering how much they're going to grow back. For example, this pigeon pea here, yes, there's life here. Oh, I don't know if you can see below the pigeon pea, there was a skink out here, and he's just disappeared under the mulch. The mulch here must be great for all those reptiles that need somewhere to live, and they will in turn be great for keeping the pest population down in my garden. So the pigeon pea, now that I've chopped it, it looks rather dead on most of these branches, and I'm wondering if it will come back or whether I'm going to have to plant another tree. This is elderberry. I'm wondering if that'll come back too, because these do look rather dead, and maybe I need to prune off some of these dead branches. Being there just for chop and drop, that's not a problem if I have to plant something else, although the goal is to have the roots continue to grow so that they can pump the growth hormone into the garden and the plants around can benefit from it. So I do want them to survive, but this will be interesting because these are quite tall, so I'll see if they grow back and how they grow back. Now, my fruit trees. It's recommended to prune stone fruit in the spring when they start to grow again. So I won't prune this now, but I'm just looking at the shape of it. It's pretty well open here in the center, but it's still closing over. What I think I'd do here is prune this off here. This branch coming up this way will create a very open shape. Because at the moment, those 1, 2, 3, 4 main stems are going up very straight. So we want it to grow open a bit. So I'd probably prune this one off here and maybe this one off here so that that can become a main stem. And the same with this, I'd prune this off here so that this becomes the main stem. But now's not the time to do it. We're about to go into winter and I don't want to cause problems. I don't know whether this is a bit of dieback or something here. This was largely covered by, well, we had the arrowroot here that was well taller than it. We had the elderberry and the pigeon pea here that was also well taller than it. So it probably was struggling a bit from being a bit shaded. I don't know what this is all over the leaves. I'll have to look into that. They look like insects, but I don't know. But now that it'll get more sun, it'll have a chance to grow healthy again. That's a nectarine. This is an apricot. This apricot, again, is growing up very straight. I have cleaned out the centre. And it is very open here in the centre. So I will take this branch off. Now, this is different from a real shaping pruning because I actually don't think this will need much shaping. It's doing really well. Maybe I'll take off these branches to encourage it to grow down the centre. But I will take that one off now so that the tree doesn't continue to grow in that way. And I'll take that little one off too. And these little ones growing inside. But that's looking good and strong and healthy. I'm hoping that apricot tree will go really well. And when the spring comes for it to start growing again, I'll chop it all off at eye height to encourage it to shoot down lower. This nectarine is not as tall, probably because it's had enough sunlight, but it does have some growth in the centre. Actually, it looks all right. Oh, that's right. This one was falling over, so I put a stake in to help it stand up. And it seems to be standing up pretty well. I'm happy with that shape. Okay, so I think this one here is coming in too much, so I'll take it off here once again. Not now. I'll leave that until regrowth starts. And this one's in the centre, so that'll come out. These are also growing out this way, so I'll probably take off this one that's growing out strongly this way. And this tip to encourage it to grow down the centre where the fruit trees are going to go so it doesn't get cluttered by the chop and drop syntropic plants. That's pretty all right. This branch here is coming up and it's rubbing on this one. So when spring comes, we'll see which one's actually growing stronger and healthier and we'll take the other one off. Failing that, I could prune this one here and encourage it to shoot down lower. Whereas this one's going up straighter, so we'll let it keep going up straight. Once again, the nectarine's got this dieback on the top. I don't know what that's about. I'd like to learn what that is. Yeah, I might prune off some of these lower branches, but that'll be spring. Oh, I guess that'll be in time for the next chop and drop. Because I've done this now at the end of summer. We're going to go into autumn and winter when we don't have a lot of rain here in southeast Queensland. And so chop and drop is best done when you do have rain. Like I said, we've got a cyclone coming, so we're going to get some good rain. And it actually occurs to me that perhaps I should have left the chop and drop till after the cyclone, because the chop and drop plants would have effectively broken the wind and potentially saved my papayas from being blown over. I guess this will be a lesson I'm going to have to learn the hard way. Hopefully they stay where they are. I do have that windbreak down there that should help to redirect the wind. So we'll see how we go. My zinnias are looking so good in this row. I only planted 1 or 2 seeds in each place, hoping that I could save seeds of particular colours. And we've got a lighter orange, more full flower. And this is more of a single flower, a large centre. And this is a darker colour than that one over there. So they look very, very beautiful. So I'm definitely going to save some seeds. I might do that towards the end of the season so that I can keep deadheading now and to encourage more and more growth. I really enjoy my arbor going over the end of this bed here, over the pathway here. These beans, while they've been very prolific with producing beans, I don't feel that they have thrived so much on this structure. I wonder if it's because they get so much wind and whether they would do better if this was more heavily planted. So we've got a lot more plants growing on here. I did intend to have it more heavily planted. Originally I planted beans and cucamelon and rock melon, and I think I had something else there as well. I just don't remember. Maybe it was a purple bean and a green bean. But only the beans and the rock melon came up, and the rock melon just didn't seem to grow very fast. This garden bed doesn't have an attached watering system, so I think that was part of what held the rock melon back. It wasn't being regularly watered. But I've identified that problem now, and I am watering it more regularly, and all of a sudden it's decided it can grow up the trellis. These cucamelons are so cute. I've never grown them before. I've never even seen them until someone gave me a plant. They're little cucumbers shaped and coloured like watermelons. So I don't know how big they need to get before you can eat them, but I'm really looking forward to eating them. Hey, look at this. I don't have the right glasses on, but I think that is a friendly. I think that is a ladybug larva, and they eat more aphids than actual ladybugs do. So that's a friendly. I'm going to keep that one and be happy about that one. I have planted some more plants in here, some different type of chili here. It seems that this bed's become my chili bed because I've got the jalapenos, if I am naming things correctly, jalapenos, red capsicums or peppers, and these I've been told these could be bird's eye. So this is contour 1 on the east, and it's all ready for another growing season. We're getting ready for autumn planting. I'm looking forward to interplanting around these lettuces and pak choi and carrots. And I'm also very much looking forward to getting my watering system extended to this bed. That will help a great deal. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you make some progress in your garden as summer winds down and as we get ready for autumn.